Shalom, everybody. It is Wednesday, February the 12th, 2020. It's the 18th day of the 11th Hebrew month. I'm still getting a lot of comments and emails saying, Daniel, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? And I'm sorry, guys. I can't communicate on my main YouTube channel other than leaving. I did put a pinned comment below the video, the last video I was able to make last week, explaining to everybody what had happened. But just in case you don't know yet, I guess you probably would know if you're on my alternative YouTube channel at this point. But the ban that was imposed upon me for my main YouTube channel should be lifted by Friday. So, that's all I can do. And believe me, it's frustrating to me too, because I have far fewer subscribers on this YouTube channel. And so when I make a video, it gets far less views because most of my subscribers are on my main YouTube channel. I'm gonna start encouraging people to come over to my alternative YouTube channel. I don't have any strikes against my alternative YouTube channel at all. And so when I get back to my main one on Friday, I'm going to encourage as many people as possible. Look, go over to my alternative one, subscribe, just so you're there in case I ever have to go back there. So that's the deal. All right, if you're new to my channel, my name's Daniel Lee. I live in beautiful, today it's very rainy, windy, stormy Juneau, Alaska. My mission statement is very clear. I preach and teach the Hebrew Jewish roots of the Christian faith on my website, spiritandtorah.com. I exalt Yahshua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He is the only way, truth, and the life. I expose satanic pedophiles through investigative reporting on my YouTube channel. Been doing this for a year and a half. I provide satanic ritual abuse survivors a platform to speak out on. I protect the innocent children by virtue of these other things, and I lead a nightly Zoom room prayer meeting every single night. We pray for President Trump, this nation, the subscribers, each other. We'll be happy to pray for you as well. So the biggest news right now is this whole Jussie Smollett, which is pretty awesome that this case has been reopened. Chicago special prosecutor announces Jussie Smollett indicted by grand jury on 6 counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly lying to police about his claims of a racist and homophobic attack against him in January 2019. And I remember when I reported on this last year, so many people were saying, see, Daniel, look, there's just this total miscarriage of justice. He's getting away. Nothing has changed. Well, I had said that even back then, even though at a local level it looked like it had been dismissed, that Barr, President Trump, they were having the feds look into this. And obviously, behind the scenes, I think they put some pressure on the Chicago special prosecutor, and this is why we're having this awesome result today. Soon the public will learn, this is from Stormers Upon Us, soon the public will learn that 2 failed Democrat presidential candidates, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, both helped now indicted race hoaxer Jussie Smollett pull off his scam to push through the anti-lynching bill. What were they so afraid of to warrant such a nefarious scheme? Yeah, I reported on that quite extensively as well back when this all happened. President Obama tweeted this just 10 minutes before the Jussie Smollett news broke on Fox 32 Chicago. Barack Obama tweeted out, even if the methods are new, sowing the seeds of doubt, division, and discord to turn Americans against each other is an old trick. The antidote is citizenship, to get engaged, organized, mobilized, and to vote on every level and every election. Remember, Barack Obama is still considered a former president who can be impeached. This is why President Trump keeps repeating over and over, we should impeach President Obama. We should impeach President Obama. And now here Obama is, just literally 10 minutes after Jussie Smollett had been indicted by a special prosecutor in Chicago, he's tweeting this out because he's scared. And with Smollett knowing he is totally crooked and just a pawn of the Chicago Obama mob and the Pedowood Mafia, perhaps they'll give him a deal to rat out the elite child rapists who've been running the show. This is what I want to talk about. And I had reported on this last year as well, but I want to review this. This is from Thomas 1774 Payne. Said documents show Chicago police employed top FBI supervisory special agents specializing in investigating child sex trafficking, child prostitution, child sexual abuse to investigate the Smollett hoax case. Did Jussie rat out Hollywood? Now, this is from an article from the True Pundit way back in March of 2019. I'm going to read this, and I'll post a link to this below the video so you can share it with your friends and family. The Jussie Smollett case just got even more bizarre with potential troubling revelations. Internal Chicago police records show detectives employed a top FBI supervisory special agent specializing in investigating the trafficking of sexually exploited children, child prostitution, and aggravated child sex abuse to help investigate the Smollett assault hoax case. During early stages of the investigation, records show Chicago police shared intel with the FBI, and FBI Special Agent Gregory Wing was working the investigation daily alongside city detectives. But Wing supervises the Child Sex Crimes and Violent Crimes Against Children Squad in the FBI Chicago field office, and is considered one of the top agents investigating child sex trafficking in the country, according to the FBI. What is one of the FBI's premier child sex crimes and child sex trafficking investigators doing working on an assault case? Wing and his FBI task force track down high-profile pedophiles and pimps. He doesn't intervene with local assault cases. One internal Chicago PD document from the Smollett case states, quote, per request of FBI Special Agent Greg Wing, the forwarded copy of the search warrant number 19SW5223, which was issued pertaining to the Apple Incorporated held iCloud account controlled by the Jussie Smollett to FBI analyst Morella Lopez by email. They received an email reply indicating receipt of this document. The question is, why is Wing working on an assault case with Chicago police? And what did one of the FBI's top sex crime investigators want with a subpoena on Smollett's phone records or Smollett's phone records? All right, so this article goes on and on. I'll let you guys read the rest. But obviously, I think what we have here is a situation where Jussie Smollett is connected to, and I don't know if he himself is a satanic pedophile, but is connected to plenty of satanic pedophiles in Hollywood. And I think that's exactly why the FBI is connected to this case. The fact that these charges are now being brought back on Jussie Smollett proves to me that this special FBI child trafficker, FBI child investigator on child trafficking, that he's also continuing with his case as well. This is likely going on behind the scenes. And I think that we're going to see Jussie Smollett be one of the people that's going to be used to expose a lot of these high-ranking satanic pedophiles in Hollywood. All right, I want to switch to my share screen here, if I can figure that out. Hold on one second, guys. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So the New Hampshire primary happened yesterday, and this is pretty incredible. This is tweeted out by Amy Kremer. Clearly, the winner of the New Hampshire primary was President Donald Trump. Look at this. When Obama was an incumbent in 2012, he got 49,000 votes in the New Hampshire primary. When Bush was an incumbent in 2004, 53,000, almost 54,000 votes. When Clinton was an incumbent in 96, 76,000 votes. When Reagan was an incumbent in 84, 65,000 votes. When Trump is an incumbent, 2020, he gets 118, almost 119,000 votes in the New Hampshire primary last night. That is a blowout. I mean, that is incredible. I'm convinced more than ever that President Trump is going to win in just a massive landslide come November 2020. This is just absolutely incredible. I like what President Trump tweeted out here. Congratulations to Attorney General Bill Barr for taking charge of a case. He's referring to the whole. You guys heard about how Roger Stone, these attorneys were recommending that Roger Stone get 9 years in prison. Donald Trump says, congratulations to Attorney General Bill Barr for taking charge of a case that was totally out of control and perhaps should not have even been brought. Evidence now clearly shows that the Mueller scam was improperly brought and tainted. Even Bob Mueller lied to Congress. And I think it's all 4 prosecutors that were recommending these 9 years for Roger Stone. They've all now resigned as of yesterday. So I don't think Roger Stone's going to actually do the 9 years that was being recommended. All right, new Q drops for today. I want to center on this one, drop 3858. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled and owned by 6 corporations? Well, we know that. We get basically the same information, all propaganda. What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology, right? It's pretty much an extension of the Democrat Party. What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when the news simply becomes an extension arm of a political party? Fact becomes fiction. Fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation. How does the average person who is under constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern fact versus fiction? Majority of people more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand news name. Yeah, that's how they've worked. And also they repeat the lie over and over and over again so that people just, they think, well, it must be true. Do people, human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and or shunned? Yeah, that's what happens. It's human nature right there. Mainstream is used for a reason. Dominate trend and opinion. If majority of people believe in X, then X must be validated or true. Why do mainstream media heads within different organizations always use the same keywords and or catchphrases? Coordinated by who? Outside entity providing instructions? Do they count on the fact that people, human psyche, are more prone to believe something if heard over and over again by different trusted sources? Do echo chamber tactics provide validation, credibility to the topic point being discussed? Yeah, they get their 4 a.m. talking points and then everyone repeats the same thing. Threat to intellectual freedom. Would control over of these institutions, organizations allow for the mass control of a population's viewpoint via desired topic? Yes, the answer is yes. Read again, digest. Would control over of these institutions, organizations allow for the mass control of populations and viewpoints and desired topics? Yes. And that's what's happened. That is what our mainstream media has been for decades. The satanic pedophiles, the deep state, they have controlled the mainstream media, and like a beating drum, they repeat the same propaganda over and over. They ignore the truth of what's really going on, and this is how they've controlled the population of the United States and their thinking. Logical thinking. Why, after the election of 2016, did the Ds, the Democrats, and media corporations jumpstart a coordinated and planned divisive blitz intended to create falsehoods, illegitimacy of election, character assassination of POTUS through sexism, racism, every other ism? And this is because, of course, President Trump was an outsider. And more than that, he tweeted out in October of 2012 that pedophiles should receive swift justice and quick death. So they were all desperate to take him down because they knew President Trump's agenda would be that of taking down satanic pedophiles. Pre-post 2016 election. Yeah, it happened both before and after. Why were violent mass terror organizations such as Antifa immediately created and funded? Yeah, I always thought that was amazing. I was living in Portland, Oregon, right after President Trump was elected. And all of a sudden, Antifa, which had never been heard of before, they were raging across Portland. I think it was even that very night when he won the election that they started. And I was like, where did these people come from? Why were these organizations tasked with immediate intimidation, shutdown of any pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized to counter and silence pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized which divided people into sex, gender, and racism? When you control the levers of news dissemination, you control the narrative. Control of the narrative equals power. When you are blind, what do you see? They want you divided, divided by religion, divided by sex, divided by political affiliation, divided by class. When you are divided and angry and controlled, you target those different from you, but not those responsible. Yeah, master deflection. This is how the deep state deflects the attention off themselves by causing division amongst us. Divided, you are weak. Divided, you pose no threat to their control. But when non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or stable, livestock kept, sheep. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. This represents a clear and present danger to the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America, Q. And what represents a clear and present danger to the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America? And that is the mainstream media being controlled by these 6 corporations. I've said many times on this channel that it is the mainstream media that are probably the single greatest threat to us, because they are basically a mouthpiece for Satan. They're a mouthpiece of continuing to push this propaganda of vilifying President Trump, not exposing the child sex traffickers and the satanic pedophiles, or even really talking about any of these arrests. There's been so many arrests that I've reported on, and I know they haven't really been high levels, but there's been a lot of pedophile rings that have been smashed and disbanded and taken down, and the media just doesn't report on them at all. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Jesus Christ of Nazareth said himself, he said, a house divided itself cannot stand. So it is good to see that more and more people are waking up. More and more people are seeing the truth about what Q has been talking about, especially with the child sex trafficking, and that so many people, like we saw last night in New Hampshire, voted for President Trump in the primary. Just so awesome. So awesome. Hallelujah. All right. If you guys like what I'm doing, if you appreciate what I'm doing, if you think I'm working hard and I deserve to be paid, this is my full-time career, which I love. I love to do what I do. So if you want to help me out, the easiest way is through my PayPal. That's a link right below this video. You can just click on it and you can send me a donation. I also have a Patreon. That's a link also below the video. The way that works is you click on it, you can pledge any monthly amount you'd like, and then that amount is taken out of your bank account at the beginning of each month. If you're old school and you don't want to use the internet to send a donation, that's fine. I also have a P.O. box that's located right below this video as well. And you can send a snail mail donation by my P.O. box. If you have a prayer request, you want our prayer team to pray for you, we do meet every night. And one of the big parts of this ministry is to pray for you guys. So if you have a prayer request, please email me. My email is also located in the description box below the video. You have to unfold the description box, and there's different ways to do that. You just scroll down through the links, and you'll eventually find my email, and you can email me your prayer request, and we'll pray for you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this backup channel because I'll be encouraging everyone to do that when I get back into my main channel on Friday. All right, God bless you guys. Happy Wednesday. Shalom, shalom.